We're on. We're recording. It always surprises me. I never know when it starts.
It starts when you hear the sound of me opening a can. We've been over this. All right. So, Michael, hello.
Hey. No Brian today.
No Brian this week, which is really disappointing. Is I had a couple videos I'm going to save for a week that I found in my scourings that I'm going to specifically save for him for obvious reasons, gay jokes. Anyway, so
All right.
it is April. Baseball's in full gear, full swing, kind of. It's still cold weather games. It's terrible. You feel bad for everyone that went to the game, and especially the players in the field.
We did.
And then we got the Knicks, or the 3 seed. Anything you want to talk about first, Mike?
We talk about kind of baseball at this point. Obviously, we're halfway through April. Tomorrow's the 15th, tax day. So you get your taxes in the next couple hours. Or file for an extension. And unless you live in a state where you don't have to pay taxes, like Florida, if they don't have sales tax or something, they don't have.
Don't you still have to report your stuff to the feds though? Because income tax is fed. Yeah, I don't think you can move to Florida and stop paying taxes. I don't think.
No, I think there's some taxes you have to pay. Anyway, taxes. I owe this year. It sucks. But anyway, we're at the halfway point of the year, and I think what we're seeing is
a month. We're at the halfway point of the month.
What'd I say? A year?
You said year.
I don't know where I am. I worked all day. So I haven't been off this computer since like 10 o'clock this morning. So everything is just still kind of up in the air. You know, the Mets are doing good.
You don't know what a team is until 2 to 3 months in. And right now, everyone's overreacting. I'm glad you mentioned the Mets, because all the Mets fans are like, "Oh, we're doing really good," and I'm sitting there like, "You guys played the Marlins for literally half your schedule so far. Like, you're not that good." They have yet to play a team that will be playing in October, and the Yankees have meanwhile been playing every single game has been against a team that has a shot at the playoffs this year. So the schedule is not easy for the Yankees. So.
No.
People are making a mountain out of a molehill, and they're early overreacting because we don't have a sample size yet of how teams perform from good versus bad teams. We just don't.
Yeah, it's most teams in the league are pretty much 500. If you go look at the standings, everybody's relatively close to 500 right now across the league. The
Mets are a little bit above 500, but again,
Mets are above,
half their schedule against the Marlins. Like, what do you want from me?
11-5. Padres, Dodgers, and the Giants are all like in the same thing.
Those guys are, that division is going to be ridiculous this year. Yeah. I'm not sure if the Giants are for real, but give me another month and a half. I'd love to get our friend Cody that was on from the Even Year Dynasty. I want to get him back on and talk to him about that, because I want to know if this Giants team is for real. Because they are, the NL West has 4 possible playoff teams. That will be ridiculous, and that will also ensure, if all those teams are good, that you're going to see a division winner somewhere else in the league, probably the NL Central, that wins like 84 games and then wins their division, and that's just it. Exactly. Or whoever the Cubs maybe. So it's interesting. There's really people are overreacting a lot right now. We're in New York shows. Let's talk about the New York teams. Let's start with I already mentioned the Mets. I think the Mets are looking better than I thought they would, but again, they've got a weak schedule because they started against the Astros, who I don't think are making the playoffs this year, and then they played against the Marlins a bunch of times.
They just play the A's,
the A's are 500 maybe. Probably below. So they really haven't played anybody great. However, as they all say, you can only beat the teams that are on your schedule. So they have performed against teams that they're supposed to be better than, which is great. Their pitching's been a little better looking, but again, bad opposition. The one thing I've heard out of Mets fans is they're freaking out that Juan Soto is apparently not playing amazingly yet. But again, it's the second week of April, and he's drawing a ton of walks. He's doing fine. I'm a Yankee fan, but I have Juan Soto on my fantasy team, so like I'm very did. My feelings, it's a little
mixed feelings.
So I'm hoping he has a good year for my own personal interests. You know what I mean? He's been okay so far. He's scoring a good amount of runs. He hasn't caught fire, but it's the middle of April.
Fine. He had a career year last year. By all accounts, he had a career year last year, statistically.
Best year of his career,
Contract year. helped get the Yankees to the World Series. So, it's a freak. I don't say it's a freak season because he's good. He's always a good player, but like it's such a standout season to live up to that is going to be hard,
Yeah. Too, he's a down year for him is still better than like 85% of the guys in the league. So I think that the freak out over him not being a superstar 10 or 12 games or 15 games, whatever we're at now into the year, is a bit overblown. I think he's going to be fine. The rest of the team I can't obviously speak to, but that's the only thing I'm hearing as far as like sort of early season overreactions out of that camp. So Mike, I don't know if you've heard anything else, the ramblings from Mets fans, but they're beating their chests and good for them, but I don't think it's going to last. That's sort of my prediction right now.
Yeah, somebody actually called the radio complaining about the Mets, and like what is there to complain about? There's nothing.
Are they in first place?
Yeah, they're in first place. Yeah. They might be a little bit back and forth with the Phillies, but they're in first place. I wanted to mention, actually, I want to jump off and go back to something you mentioned before, because you mentioned the Giants. The Giants came to town to play the Yankees.
Yeah, they did.
And what's his name? Wilmer Flores, former Met of all people, is tied with the league leaders. And there's like 8 guys, including Judge, with 6 home runs. Wilmer Flores, and he's like second in RBIs in the league behind Judge or something. So, and today Jazz Chisholm he is Hism. Yeah, Jazz Chisholm hit his 6th home run. So now everybody's hit 6 home runs.
Let's hop over to the Yankees then. Everyone's freaking out about the Yankees, saying, "Oh, they're not that good." Whatever. The one statistic I heard that jumped out at me today that I didn't like was this: they are currently the worst team in the AL according to starting ERA. However, to which I'll respond this. Carrasco is not going to be in the rotation much longer because you have Schmidt and eventually Heel coming back. Mm-hmm. And Marcus Stroman is out of the rotation for a while because he's injured. That number is going to go down, kids, because the other guys have actually been pretty good. I almost said Jarrett Wright. Max Fried has been awesome. Rodon has pitched actually okay, but he always has like 1 or 2 bad mistake pitches per game. And then Warren has hung in there for a raw rookie, man. So it's going to get better in terms of the pitching. I really think that.
Yeah, it's going to get better. I was thinking like 8 things at the same time. My brain froze. Rodon has been. He'll have like Rodon. His whole thing is he'll have a couple really good innings, and then he'll have a terrible inning.
Yep.
And they'll blow the lead. Like that's what happened the other night. And it's like that's a typical Rodon game. And then he'll set up. He's fine. And it's
dude. Were you watching that game?
But
I was watching that game. He was absolutely dominating up until that point. And also, too, not to throw our another Italian like yourself from Jersey under the bus, but if Volpe makes that routine grounder play, the play before it, that guy's not on base. And so maybe it's only a solo shot or a 2-run, or maybe it's a different pitch sequence, and he doesn't get a meatball. So I'm just saying, defense matters in baseball more than people talk about. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So you got it. It's the little thing. It's the Yankees. They got it. Obviously, when they're having these games when they're losing, they don't hit it all. There's nothing. It's a total drought. Everybody's striking out. So I don't know how you improve that. You have to, but it's these little things you have to get better at. It's the defense. It's on the base path, and it's like this is common sense stuff that I was joking last year when they went to hang out with the Little League World Series teams. They should have let one of the Little League coaches coach them on the basics. This is on like the
fundamentals,
stuff.
Kids. Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know what it is. You would think that comes from the top down. Is that a Boone thing? Is he lax on it? I don't know. I mean, he's 3rd generation baseball player. You think he would be on top of that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know where the disconnect is. Why they don't.
I think everyone's freaking out because everything's under a magnifying glass because it's April. Again, our sample size is very small. Give me another 5 to 6 weeks, and I'll start making some more judgment calls on what teams are. But enough of that right now. Enough of that. We got to talk about the playoff-bound team here in New York, which is, of course, the Knicks NBA playoffs starting very, very soon. They're the 3 seed.
The mighty, mighty Knicks.
And I think you mentioned off the air to me, and I want to quote you. You said, no one really has any hope for them. And I think that's how I feel, is that they are exactly the third best team in the conference. They're the team that they beat up on everybody except the teams that are better than them. They look silly against. It's this weird thing where they can't even really hang with the big boys.
Nope.
You know, like
that's the weird part.
That's the weird thing because they have a good roster. They score a lot of points. Everything's looking good, but for whatever reason, they can't cross over that hump and become one of those teams that people fear to play, or like rephrase that the top 2 seeds or maybe top 4 or 5 teams in the whole league fear to play. No one's afraid of the Knicks if they're better than them, even a little bit. It's not like any given. I was going to say any given Sunday. Is there an expression for that in the NBA?
Any given NBA.
Any given winter cold night.
Winter. Any given middle of the week random Tuesday night. Yeah. I don't know. The Knicks, it's the same old story with the Knicks. They went 20 years of horribleness. Then they became competitive again, like the old Knicks of the 90s. And like the old Knicks of the 90s, they just don't have enough to get over the hump. They never had enough to beat Jordan. It's like they needed one more guy, one more piece.
And it's Boston. They're gonna run into Boston again in the second or third round and get the shit knocked out of them in 4 or 5 games. And then we're gonna have to spend all summer and early fall here like, oh, are they gonna make any moves?
They're gonna get rid of Tibbs.
What are they gonna do? Are they gonna add to their team? And then they're gonna be good next year and then get knocked out in the first or second round.
It's like the Rangers. Like this year with hockey, to compare it to the Rangers, I went into the season with no expectation. I was like, I'm not even going to get excited this year because the Rangers lately have been the best team in the league. They win the President's Cup. They go to the playoffs and they choke and they look like, you just aren't that good. And it's like, you did so good during the season. What happened come playoff time? So the Knicks, it's starting to turn into that. I think with the Knicks, there is still hope of, if this will catapult them in the right direction if things go poorly. I think Tibbs is back for another year. I don't blame him for all their problems. Maybe he is overplaying the guys. You'd have to ask the players. But, there is something missing. And some people are blaming it. The Cat deal was terrible. I don't think the Cat deal was bad. He's great offensively. The problem is a couple of the guys they gave up, Randall, DiVincenzo, and they didn't. They gave what's his name went to OKC. He wasn't part of that deal. Hardenstein. Those guys had fire. Those guys were the epitome of the team. Those were Knicks, local Knicks. You never see a trade like that before where they were like, those are our guys, and they got rid of them.
Yeah, they screwed around with the chemistry of the team a little bit for the sake of trying to get
we lost
a
fire.
type player.
Yeah.
And I think they did lose something. That being said, they still, man, they win a lot of games, and Cat is fun to watch, man. If there's anything you can say from someone who is a very casual fan like myself, he's fun. When you're sitting there at the bar and he's got that kind of dynamic offense that can take control of like certain plays. It's fun. It's fun to sit there and drink a beer and watch him. Anyway, speaking of the Knicks, they that segues great into we have I don't know what order you're doing the ads in, but I know I have at least a few Detroit Pistons ads. We can do those at the end or the beginning.
The Knicks are going to play the Pistons in the first round, which is not gonna be a walk. they should win. Hopefully they will, but the Pistons smell a little blood, so it's going to be an interesting.
By the way,
round.
what an insane sentence to say if you would think back even 1 year ago. Where did that team come from? Anyway.
I don't know. Anyway,
right.
Let's do that. You got one here. It's Isiah Thomas, who has links to the Knicks because he was their coach and their general manager, and everybody hates him. From Michael Jordan down to every Knick fan. Nobody likes Isiah Thomas. So, and he did get caught, sexual harassment at work. So he just sounds like a bad guy overall, even though he seems like a nice guy. I think he's a bad guy.
But he probably did it pre-Me Too, so he didn't know the rules.
Yeah.
He didn't know it was against the rules yet. Anyway, he probably did. It probably was really bad. Anyway.
Was it with Isiah Thomas? I think it's was it this k-mart? No, that was something else.
Oh, no, that's also Detroit Pistons. Play either of them, whatever.
All right, let's play this one.
So why aren't you playing?
They say I'm too small.
That's what they used to say about me. Come on.
Him and the little kid, let's take him. Go, let's point win. This time, why don't you run with me?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
No, he gonna play with us. Oh, he's on my team. He had first pick.
Isiah, I love what you did for me, man.
You did it, kid.
Did he even pass the ball to the kid? Or did he just make
I
error
don't know.
shots?
I have no idea.
Well,
This
he
is
did-
wholesome though, isn't it? It's very wholesome. He helps a short guy get picked on for a basketball team.
Yeah. The other kid, I guess, the other kid was wearing the X-ray shirt. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah.
I don't know. I like the editing in this. It's so early it screams early
Yeah.
90s. He's got the sideways angle shots and the high fade, and you've got the
80s saxophone.
yeah.
You know, which is usually reserved for cop movies and romantic scenes in cop movies. So I don't,
Yeah,
There's
someone's either
a
fucking
choice.
or dying usually when you hear that music.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I don't know what Isiah really did for him here, but
Yeah, and
the
I like how they
saxophone
found like a
roots
street
of it.
corner to make it look like Isiah Thomas would drive that car to the hood and just park it there with no top on it. You know,
I don't know where. Yeah, I don't know where he's supposed to be. Is this Detroit? I guess it's supposed to be Detroit where he played, but
it has to be one of the city, either Detroit or New York. I guess could be
Any city
interchangeable for
city,
the purposes of this ad, right?
yeah, and he's just kind of sitting there staring at them playing ball at the beginning here, which is creepy. So
Sitting on top of his red Toyota convertible, which back in the day was, I'm sure, was like a cool, badass county.
I just put that together.
County
It's
car.
Toyota. It's Toyota. But it's
Did you not
convertible.
realize this is a Toyota commercial?
I did, but I wasn't paying attention that it was that he was driving the Toyota. You don't see a Toyota. When do you see a Toyota convertible? I haven't seen one probably since the 80s,
Probably
90s.
this exact model.
Yeah, I didn't put it together. But oh yeah, that's a convertible.
Yeah, you didn't see the "I love what you do for me" Toyota logo on the screen.
No, I did. The whole commercial's just. It's a
Hold on.
different time. It doesn't make sense.
What did you
anymore.
think this ad was selling? Was this like do you think this is a shoe commercial? I'm not like ragging on you. I'm
No,
genuinely
I
curious.
knew it was for Toyota, but it was like, oh yeah, he's driving a convertible. Like when you look at a convertible, you don't think it's a Toyota, even though this is a Toyota commercial.
That's true. You never do think it is a.
Like you see a commercial. There's some woman or some guy on the beach, and there's all kinds of crazy music. Like I don't know, it's some commercial with Johnny Depp. He's playing the guitar with a rattlesnake, and he's rolling around. And like, what the hell is this for? And it's for like cologne or something. That's what I like. This commercial, I'm like, I thought it was an abstract Toyota commercial.
No, man, because
He's driving.
the red car
Yeah.
pops nicely. It's framed well against
Yeah.
like all like the urban gray backdrop. That was the whole point of the commercial, Mike.
The red, yeah. No, it's good. It's a good color call by you there. The cinematography makes it pop by making it red. So okay, I just got so confused by that commercial. I don't know, so
Well, they didn't do their job very well. If you didn't even know what the commercial was for.
I guess so.
All right, we got the VHS one next, right? That's the other Detroit Pistons one.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this one. Is apparently from 1987. So let's check it out.
Now
This is
at
great.
Kmart, enter a new dimension of sight and sound. Capture the action with Scotch EG all-purpose video cassettes, the popular choice for today's VCR recording.
Wow.
Now with patented time-left gauge to ensure that you never miss a replay. Scotch EG video cassettes from 3M, worldwide sponsor of the 1988 Olympic Games. Available at Kmart.
I love the beginning of this ad, like step into the next generation
Yeah.
of sound.
80s space.
80s space with the V, and I actually had a whole stack of
Yeah.
those in my
Oh,
parents'
yeah.
house. Who didn't, right? Because that's what you recorded stuff off of.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
onto,
I
rather.
still have VHS tapes sitting around.
I'm sure this is this is just fun. It's fun because clearly it's like it looks like a local, I would assume, Detroit ad of some sort, right? Because you wouldn't run that in the whole country unless this was right after they won a championship or something.
I think they did win in '88, but yeah, it might be it's just a local Kmart ad. I mean, this is like people complain about all the CGI in movies in the '90s and so on, and this is 1987, and like we were just begging for CGI because this commercial was like a step forward to getting the CGI, and we're like, I can't believe in the future it's going to be even better than this.
Yeah.
And we got what we wish for. So
Yeah. What was before VHS? It was
Betamax.
Betamax and Laserdisc, right? Those were the first two. Or was Laserdisc after VHS?
Laserdisc was after. It was before
Okay.
DVD, after VHS. It was like the size of a record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember hearing
Yeah.
about them. So it was what was before VHS?
Betamax, which was like a bigger kind of tape. So
Okay, so it was like bigger. So then VHS was supposed to be like the compact, kind of smaller one. Okay.
And before that, it was just reel-to-reel home movie. Like you can get a movie as like I don't know how widespread it was because in the 80s everything went to VHS after the theaters, but you could get like a reel-to-reel projector and project.
Oh, like the old school. You had to put the wheel on, and you had
you put it.
Oh,
put
wow.
It on the wheel. There was stuff like that. But again, I don't. It's like if you watch old movies and stuff. They remade a lot of movies back then, or like I like the Three Stooges. They reused old footage because you didn't see it since it was in the movies 10 years ago. So it's like, we'll just reuse the footage from 10 years ago to fill in the holes. Nobody will notice, So you could get away with it back then, but I don't know. This commercial just blows my mind. The effects are astounding.
Isn't it fun with just the spinning picture? And I guess you're an editor. Imagine doing that on the software they had back then. That probably took like somebody at least 2 or 3 days to do, right?
Yeah, that was probably something like they had something called the video toaster. It was like the effects machine that had some computer effects. I mean, that looks definitely computer made, but 80s computer. So now everything's digital because George Lucas said, let's just make it digital, make it easy. And back then everything was tape. And when I finished high school, I graduated in 99, we were using SVHS, which is a slight step up from VHS. Digital just came into the marketplace, so we were still using tape. That's how old I am. But it worked. So
I'm glad that I can learn something today.
It's education.
That's all I'm going to say about that. We have, let's see, what was the other one? Oh, the Mets played against the Twins, right? Or they're playing against the Twins this week. I know I have a Twins and an A's ad, so just play whatever one.
All right, let's play. They just played the A's. Let's play the A's ad because these are always fun.
Fans love coming onto the field for fireworks, so we started looking for other ways to get them closer to the team.
Okay, Brett, let's do this.
Hey, Scott, here's your hat.
Thanks.
Josh Reddick, I'm a huge fan. You know what? There's plenty of room. Why don't you hop on in here, slugger?
Does anybody else think this is a bad idea?
I gotta say the A's commercials, because we've talked about this. We've done a few other A's ones. They push the envelope a little more than some of the other teams do with their ticket sale ads. I have a deep appreciation for what they did in Oakland with some of these. Yeah. That's pretty funny. And also too, it was also, we saw, I forgot who the first player was, but obviously it was Scott Kazmir, who originally was from the Rays, and then Reddick, who was from the Red Sox. So it's always funny watching players who got traded to the A's and then have to be in these commercials.
You have to get involved, yeah. This right here, see, they didn't show the guy's reaction. I think that was a mistake because I was waiting for him to be like, and then
who are you?
Everybody else gives a reaction. And then here, Josh Reddick kind of steps on the guy's line. So they're not actors. I mean, what do you expect? But just some technical notes for you nerds like me out there.
Yeah, I got also.
These are great.
I really like the bathrobe that Josh Reddick is wearing in this. He's got this, because most bathrobes are just white. This is like a forest green. He's got a team colors bathrobe.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's a rich, thick green color there. Yeah,
I love it. I mean, I want a bathrobe that's that color. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know who's hairier, Josh Reddick or the guy in the oh my god.
They casted that guy well, the hairy fat guy. Imagine that local casting call. Like, we need a doofy-looking, low-budget Jonah Hill, but hairier, to sit in the hot tub and creep out Josh Reddick.
Exactly, yeah. We need a hairy fat guy.
Yeah.
So.
Come down to the Oakland Coliseum. We're doing casting call on Saturday.
It's a role of a lifetime. That's what I wanted. So that was good. That was good.
No, I always love the Oakland ads. They're always funny. And I think we're closing out with the Mets are currently, I believe, they're this week playing the Twins. So I pulled us Joe Mauer, man, commercial legend. Let's go.
Legend. Let's go.
Hey, Joe. Great game.
Thanks.
Are you thirsty?
A little bit.
See you later, Joe.
Hey, kid. There you go.
Thanks, Joe.
That
Beyond
was
strange.
so odd, but entertaining. I also like too that they didn't actually make him shave. They just made him turn his head and do this for the last shot.
Yeah, they cut. Yeah,
Yeah, they didn't actually make him shave. Like that's pretty funny.
So wait, let me see. What they went to a close up of his hand. Yeah, so obviously it's somebody else.
That's a stunt double right there.
Yeah,
honestly, for a local level ticket sale commercial, that's not the worst editing or special effects we've ever seen. I like this a lot. I think it's funny.
Yeah, and this does work because it's like you're ripping the hair off your head, so he would naturally be doing this. So it's a good cover. So that's a smart.
And the kid just looks freaked out. Like, hey, I was just hoping for a signed ball, and he stuck his hair on me. His mom's gonna write a letter.
Yeah, that's a phone call.
That's at least a phone call, or like a local news level apology. He's gonna get a signed bat in 2 weeks and have to appear on the Channel 6 News or whatever the channel is out in Minnesota. All right.
Yeah, that is good. Obviously it's a playoff of the old, a takeoff of the old Mean Joe Green Coca-Cola commercial, and they said, just give him your sideburns.
The kid did look sufficiently freaked out, though. I gotta give it to the kid.
He was like, "This is cool, but I don't understand." Yeah. Oh,
I like it. This is fun.
What? Okay, so where is Joe Mauer right now that the fans would be there and that the kids would be right there? There is no baseball. Like, I get it, it's commercial, but let's just think about it as a real thing because it makes it funny. This would never. There's no place like this at a ballpark.
Well, also too, the fans are cheering. So, is the game over? Like, did he get pulled in the 6th inning?
Yeah. Is it between innings? Is there
like an after? Is there an after game concert happening? Is there a speaker on the field? What is happening to where their attention is not on the star player of the team? It's on the field. We all need to know this, Mike. You're right.
It would have made sense if the kid jumped down from the stands into the locker room. Then, but right here, like, I don't know. It's just like a company, like it must be the Twins family picnic softball game. And that's one of the backup catcher's kids, trying to poison Joe Mauer so his dad could start. I don't know.
That's right. That's where I thought that this was going at first, was because the kid handed him an unlabeled bottle of water. I'm like, what's really in that bottle?
It's like rubbing alcohol or peroxide or something.
Vodka. He's trying to get him drunk.
Yeah. So, all right. That was good. Good commercials tonight. Good commercials. The first one confused the hell out of me, and then the rest were all fascinating.
Yeah.
I had a brain fart there.
Well, Mike is not going to be buying a Toyota this summer, so whoever wrote that commercial 30 years ago, we apologize.
I already own a Toyota.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. That thing is it's lasted longer than it should have, and it's no problem. So
that's a good endorsement.
It's a good car. It's good
durability.
Get a little Corolla. Get a little.
Thank you for watching. This episode not brought to you by Toyota. Toyota. Or wait, is it? What's your slogan nowadays?
Toyotas are dope. I don't know. That should be. I mean, it's a 2016. I bought it in 2020, and it's almost 10 years old now, 9 years old, and the car is great. So
that should just be, that should be what they advertise on. Like, hey, if you're poor, this car will last longer than you think.
Yeah. Just got the oil change. Everything's looking good. You got to do your casual update. I'm missing 2 hubcaps though, but those are plastic hubcaps. I'm not spending.
Somebody stole plastic hubcaps off your car.
They fell off from driving to the city and stuff. But the problem is that if I can order them, get like 2 for $40, and then the shipping is like just as much, and it's like double the price. So I'm like, no, I'm not.
Isn't that the kind of thing where you can just go to like a scrapyard or a local garage and see if they have anything that fits it? Or I mean, I'm not a car guy. I don't care.
Probably. Oh, look at that! Just in time, our StreamYard renewal is due. So
all right. Well, we can cut the end of this off also. Anyway, see you next week, kids.
All right. See you.